what would you consider luck in StarCraft 2? Okay, I'm one of the people that I actually consider there is quite a bit of luck at the highest level. I'm not gonna say it's like 50% luck, right? But there is luck. There is about, I would say 10 to 15%, I would say 10% chance that luck can kind of swerve the game one way or another. And the reason for that is a lot of casters and pro players are very against this. Like, no, that's not true. StarCraft's 100% skill. It's extremely skill based, but there is luck involved. And I'll tell you quite a few examples. Right. Number one is when you play a tournament. If I'm a pro player and I have a 90% win rate in TVZ and 90% win rate in TVP, and then my TVT is 10% win rate. If I get a bracket that's all Terrans, that's very unlucky, right? And you can say, well, yeah, if you played better in that matchup, then you wouldn't have that problem. The point is, the number one thing that happens in every game, by the way, is the bracket luck. For example, spoiler alert, Cyril just won DreamHack, right? And Cyril avoided, I mean, he won, right? And that's great. You know, grats and all that. But he won by beating the players he always beats. And the players that beat him nowadays, he avoided all of them. So the question is, if he met those players, would he have won? I don't know, right? And he got a good bracket. So that's outside of the game luck. That I call outside of the game luck, right? I mean, that's lucky, right? If the bracket is 8 players and 3 of the players recently like wrecked you, and you avoid all 3 of them, like that's pretty lucky, right? Pretty lucky. But that's outside a game. Inside a game, let's say, I mean, I'll use simple examples, but this kind of grows exponentially across the game the longer you go into the game. So for example, let's say a scout, right now, and let's say there's 2 scouting paths, and you take one and your opponent takes the other, and they do a 12 pull, or they do a drone pull, whatever. You don't scout them. You didn't play necessarily wrong, you just got unlucky, or your opponent got lucky, whichever way you want to look at it, right? Then there's a question of, I mean, earlier, I had a game earlier today. I still won, by the way, but, so I'm not saying this because I'm salty that I lost or something. I still won that game. But what basically ended up happening is I completely denied opponent scouting in PvZ. And I went for Adept Glaives. And my opponent was going for Roach Ling all-in, blindly. Now, to me, that's pretty unlucky, right? Because you can always use the, you know, I heard about, like, people say this, like, oh, he smelled it. Like, bruh, don't give me that shit, you know? Like, there is luck. And that's fine, but there is luck. Obviously, you can reduce the RNG and the luck in StarCraft 2 by playing less risky builds, by playing more standard, yada yada, and you know, all that is great. But when it comes down to it, there is luck, and there are games definitely lost due to luck. I've seen Terrans lose tournaments where they opened Raven 4 games in a row, right? And then the 5th game against Protoss, right? And then the 5th game, they go for no Raven. And then at that point, the Protoss goes for DTs. And it's like, you know, if you open 4 games Raven, and then the one game you don't open it, the Protoss goes DTs in a game 5 of a tournament and you lose. Like, and again, someone can use the excuse of like, oh yeah, the Protoss, like, you know, smelled that something was happening. Like, bruh, you don't, listen. If you see Raven 4 out of 4 games and you go DTs, that is extremely risky, right? That is lucky. That is extremely. It's more so unlucky for the Terran than it is lucky for the Protoss. And again, like the problem is in tournaments on ladder you can kind of exclude the luck factor because, you know, you play pretty much different opponents every game, right? So on the ladder, you can exclude that and minimize it to the maximum. The difference is in tournaments, you have to... Wait, what is he doing? The problem is in tournaments, you have to mix it up, right? You can't just go one build all the time. Because by going one build all the time, you're exposing yourself to, you know, just straight up dying to blind counters. So... And again, this is like, doesn't matter what league you are. I've had plenty of games where I put like observers everywhere, and then there's like this much space where I don't have the observers, and the medevacs fly through that, and you lose the game because Doom Drop happened, and you're just like, really? Right? And to me, that's luck. Like, if anyone describes it as like skill in any way, it's just ridiculous because StarCraft 2 people are very against the fact that StarCraft can be lucky and it has luck factors. Because I think people in StarCraft 2 take pride on like, oh, it's the most skill-based game in the world and, you know, blah, 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 it's the hardest game. It is. But to say that there's no luck with limited information, which is your vision, because in like chess is no luck. And the reason why chess is no luck is because you have full vision of the whole board, right? But because StarCraft is limited vision, and if your opponent denies you the vision, sometimes you have to pick, you know? Like, if you're not sure if it's Muta or Hydra, sometimes you gotta go with what you feel it is. And if you feel it's Hydra, and then Mutas come out, you're shit out of luck. You know? So... Oh shit, he's scouting me super fast.
Looks like our warriors are seeing some action. Need more minerals for that.
So yeah, I think there's plenty of those examples. And again, yeah, sure, you can minimize it and you can work around it and stuff, but the point stands, right? There is luck in StarCraft 2. There's luck in everything.
One of our pylons is under enemy fire. We don't have enough minerals. Upgrade complete.
Man, that's a fast attack, actually. But yeah, like I said, I think we've all had those games where something happens and, you know, you decide to cover 4 out of 5 things and then the 5th thing happens. And it's like, sometimes you cannot cover everything in StarCraft 2. Sometimes there is a hole in your defense and the only thing you can do is try your best to prevent it.
Our base is under attack. Looks like our warriors are seeing some action. Mineral field depleted. Can't warp that in. Our warriors are under attack.
Use F. Oh, and also, like, proxies, right? If I proxy at a certain side of the map, and my opponent scouts everything, and that's the last spot he scouts, is that skill? I don't know, bro. I don't think it is, but I might be wrong.
more minerals. Our base is under attack. Upgrade is ready for use. One of our pylons is under enemy fire.
And how the fuck do you expand on this map? Like, actually, how do I expand here?
Upgrade complete. Can't warp that in. That'll cost more minerals than we have.
But yeah, there's also the, right? When you proxy something and your opponent scouts it first. Again, did he scout it because he's a good player and he's better than you? Or maybe he just got lucky? You probably got lucky, you know? And to me, that's fine. But saying that StarCraft 2 has no luck is kind of ridiculous, to be honest.
Our base is under attack.
Okay. Time to kill him. I think he's sacrificed way too many units.
Nothing left in that. Completely mined out of minerals. Research complete. Mineral field complete.
There's lurkers, but the best way sometimes to deal with lurkers is to just walk over them.
Our warriors are under attack. Looks like our warriors are maximum supply. Enemy is gunning for our probe. We're at maximum supply. We've completely mined out of mineral field. Looks like our warriors are seeing some action. Upgrade is ready for use.
Whoa!
Nothing left in that mineral cluster. Our warriors are under attack. We're done. Mineral field.
Toss is not easy, proceeds to play Sky Protoss. It's the same guy then. I mean, hey, listen. Listen, it is what it is, okay? Don't get me going. Protoss, especially Sky Protoss, is the peak of skill, okay? Thank you very much. But to continue on the conversation is, I do think there's a certain amount of luck in StarCraft 2, right? And this is why we play tournaments in best of 5s and best of 7s for grand finals. This is why we don't do best of 1s for the grand finals. Because at a high level game, in StarCraft 2, at any point, if you get a slight edge, that can snowball pretty hard, right? Like pretty hard, and it can kind of turn games, especially if you're in mid-game and you miss an army. Even though you tried so hard to scout it, maybe you didn't scout the proper path, but you scouted every other path, and it's like, well, it's like you messed up, but technically you did everything right. So these things happen, and this is why, like I said, we play tournaments in best of 5s, best of 7s, because there's less chance of that happening. Yes, you can be unlucky, you know, with a build order or something like that, but then you can't be unlucky like 5 games in a row, right? But there is definitely a degree of luck, and I do think that if you're a ladder player, yeah, there's luck, but you can always avoid it, right? You can always play safe, take less risks. But sometimes when players are both aggressive and one player chose build A, the other player chose build B, and build B is better than build A in that situation, to me, that is luck in a way, right? If both players have no information and one goes for one goes for the other, and the other just kind of has an advantage, that is lucky. That is not, oh, he outplayed him by picking that build or something like that. There's plenty of times where I would try to, like, I don't know, do a Banshee harass in TVT, and I'm trying to approach it like the base from like a weird angle, and then the Raven and the Viking are like right there, you know? And it's like, so all those things can kind of be like annoying, or maybe you go for a drop. I mean, you guys, you know, that watch my videos and my stream, how many times would I go for drops in TVP and I literally boost the medevacs right into the stalkers? But they wouldn't be right in front of my base, they would be to the side, right? And I boost my stalkers right into the medevacs. And yes, if I reacted instantly, I wouldn't have lost them. But again, my opponent didn't see my medevacs going there. He just happened to be there. So, I don't know. I personally think that chess is a game that I don't think it has luck, because the board and the vision you're playing with is completely revealed. The same way that if StarCraft 2 had a map completely open from the start, there would be no luck, because you can see everything that the opponent is doing. Now, I know what some people are going to say, well, you can just scout, because basically scouting means that you would reduce that RNG. Yes, you would reduce the RNG, but not completely remove it. And this is why pro players, if you pay attention, they constantly scan, they constantly send observers, hallucinations, zerglings, because they need to know what's happening at every point and where the armies are. But eventually, if you slip up and your scout is maybe 2 seconds too late, or, you know, maybe you're scouting something and you missed the war prism just by, you know, a little second. So yeah, every game has, I think, a video game has luck, of course. Like, you know, if you play a MOBA game, League of Legends, let's say, and you're playing one-on-one in the lane, and your opponent crits you 3 times in a row, like, that's extremely unlikely to happen, but it's possible. Did he outplay you? I mean, not really. He just got super lucky with crits, right? But from then on out, you're extremely disadvantaged in the lane. So, yeah, that's what I think about it. I don't know if you guys agree with it or not, but that's my opinion.